Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Town of Cutler Bay Council Workshop of January 27th, 2021. Um, um, Madam Clerk, if you could please take roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Lord.
Here.
Councilmember Duncan.
Here.
Councilmember Coriat.
Here.
Vice Mayor Callahan.
Here.
And Mayor Mearbot.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. If you'd all please rise with me and for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, council members and staff. Okay, today we're going to be going through the agenda with the legislative agenda for this upcoming year. However, prior to us going forward with that, we do have a special guest with us, and that's our newly elected County Commissioner Danielle Cohen Higgins, and she's on the line with us. So if you could bring her forward, Jasmine, and Commissioner, when you're on the line, if you can hear us, you can just let me know. I see a little mute button by your name there. There you go. There she is. Can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can hear you very clearly. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I've had the opportunity to talk to you a few times, not in person recently lately, and we have discussed some of the issues. Before you get started, I want to let you know, in all my discussions with her, she's really up to date on the issues that are going forward in Cutler Bay and all of South Dade as well. So I really appreciate the opportunity to have you with us tonight and to share a little bit more about you, and also looking more forward to the opportunity to work with you as well. So with that, I'm going to give you the floor, Danielle.
Thank you so much, Mayor Mearbot. It's really a pleasure to join you this evening. I am thrilled to be your new commissioner, the commissioner for District 8, and I see a lot of familiar faces and friends that I have made along this journey. I want to say hello, of course, to Councilman Coriat and Councilman Duncan, of course. Our new Susie Lord, congratulations on your recent victory. I also see Mr. Your town manager, who I've had conversations with. Good afternoon. I also see Mitchell Bierman, who I have had many conversations with, and so a lot of familiar faces. And for those of you who I do not know or I have not had the occasion to meet, I genuinely look forward to meeting you. I will certainly keep this brief. I just want to take a moment to introduce myself, let you know a little bit about my story, and really just kind of touch on the issues that I know are top of mind for me and for my family, and likely top of mind for you and for your families as well. We are, obviously facing extremely difficult times, and we're all navigating this difficult world. And if you want to call it the new normal, we'll call it the new normal. Pre-pandemic, the issues were different than the issues that we're facing right now. We all had traffic top of mind. We had affordable housing top of mind. We had environmental issues top of mind. And while all of those issues remain pressing and at the forefront, we now have, an incredible challenge that we are all facing, and it relates to this pandemic and this virus. And what are we doing as government officials to help our hardworking residents get through this incredibly difficult time? And so I'm going to start there, because it's the number one question we receive at our office. It's the number one issue that we get emails about. How can you help my mother, my grandmother, myself, get an appointment for these vaccines? And it's very frustrating as the commissioner, and I know my colleagues, all the other commissioners, feel very frustrated as well, that we can't help more. Because everybody's inundated with these phone calls, as I'm sure you all are as well. But I'm constantly communicating with our amazing and hardworking Mayor Cava. We're on the phone regularly. She's sending us updates regularly. And we're also passing legislation at the County Commission to try and help the mayor and her administration get through these difficult times. For example, if anyone on this call is a teacher or law enforcement, you might be wondering and asking yourself, how is it possible that a year ago, it was declared by our governor that I was an essential worker, where we were all ordered to stay home and hunker down. Law enforcement, teachers, and other frontline workers had to be out and had to go to work. And so now that we have a vaccine, how can it be true that I am not, a priority to receive those vaccines? And so thankfully, my colleagues agreed at our last DCC meeting, and we unanimously passed a resolution urging Governor DeSantis to make sure our teachers, our law enforcement, our transit operators are on the next list as priority recipients of this vaccine. And thankfully that passed unanimously. That's just one example. Commissioner Higgins, for example, put forth legislation that also passed regarding disparities and the access to vaccine appointments if you don't have a computer or you're not on Twitter, you're not able to see these updates that are coming in immediately. So those are just a couple of examples of what we are doing to try and help get us through this very difficult time. And then while we're tackling the issues as it relates to the pandemic, I'm also tackling and looking forward to addressing the issues that stay with us every single day, like traffic. And it's better now. We all have to admit that the commute is far more pleasant, which is wonderful, but we know it's not going to last for very long. And we know the days of unbelievable and unbearable gridlock will be coming and coming soon. And so hopefully at the next BCC meeting or the one thereafter in the middle of February, you'll see some legislative efforts on my part to start tackling these issues and starting with small projects. And everything related to transit in South Dade is not all connected to the rail. That is a big issue. Everything doesn't center around BRT. There are a lot of small projects in our district that I look forward to championing in order to get our residents moving. I like to say, the county line does not end at Dadeland, and it doesn't. We keep getting forgotten here in South Dade. And I look forward to working with really strong colleagues like Commissioner McGee and Commissioner Regalado. These are strong advocates. We're all lawyers. We all have strong voices, strong opinions, strong ideas. And I think it will serve South Dade very, very well to have such aggressive advocates saying, do not forget about South Dade. We will get our fair share. Where is our economic opportunity and development, so on and so forth. And so we have hit the ground running. We have done a lot of work. We continue to do, and I look forward to continuing to do a lot of good work. And if there's anyone on this call that is not on our email list, please let me know. Email me, please, at district8@miamidade.gov. We'll make sure to add you to our email list. We send out a lot of updates. And very briefly, because I said Mayor Mirabad, and I apologize, I said I would be brief. But we're also doing food distributions. A lot of the council members on this call were gracious enough to join us at our very first one at South Dade Government Center a few weeks ago, where we partnered with the Dolphins. We're going to take it even farther south into Homestead next week on February 3rd from 11 to 1. It will not only be a hot food distribution, it will also incorporate groceries. The Mexican American Council has partnered with us for this one. The Dolphins has partnered with us for this one, and Feeding South Florida. So this is going to be a big one. Any of you and all of you that are in need and are experiencing food insecurity through no fault of your own, right? We're all thrown into this. Hardworking business owners that had an excellent 2019 that just completely thrown off center in 2020 and hopefully are rebuilding in 2021. Come and see us next week, Wednesday, February 3rd in Homestead. We'll share more information about that. So again, thank you so much. I don't know that you're doing, whether you're doing questions. I'm happy to answer them if it's appropriate. If not, I look forward to being at many, many more meetings, Mayor Mirabad. Thank you for this opportunity. And I look forward to working with you on some critical issues, and you know what I'm talking about, that are facing our residents that I know we're aligned on. And I'm gonna, fight like heck to help our residents. And I know you're very passionate about some of these issues as well.
I do appreciate that. And council, we're not going to be doing questions tonight. We've the dialogue with the commissioner has been very open. And I really appreciate that. So rather than have questions for you, for us at this time, I really encourage you to reach out to her and have an open discussion with her. We're a lot of irons in the fire going on in South Dade, and we're working on a lot of things. And I don't think we could probably cover even half of them in the allotment tonight and still get to our agenda. So Commissioner Higgins, thank you very much for being there. I also want to say, the CARES Act, I do know that I believe Commissioner Harvin filed to extend the CARES Act from the county's perspective. The federal government has said it could be extended for a year, but we need to get that done on the county level. I reached out to your staff as well. They said they're going to be working on that. So we are in support of that, and we do appreciate everything you do to bring that forward to get more of the CARES Act in our hands so we can get it into our citizens' hands. And again, thank you very much for being here tonight, and we really look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I look forward to the next one. Have a wonderful and a safe evening and a great meeting. I look forward to seeing all of you again very soon. Thank you again, Mayor Mirabot. Have a good night.
All right.
Uh-oh. We think the mayor fell off.
How are you feeling, Ralph?
Oh, a little better. Oh, there's the mayor. Okay.
There you go. All right, I'm unmuted. So. All right, Ralph. Are you feeling up to it? Do you want me to turn this over to you, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Tonight we have, for the folks that are watching, very familiar with our program, we developed the package that we usually do, which has several components. One was the legislative principles and supports. The second one was the House bills and Senate bills that had been filed. Another one project was the recommended bill watch list from the town lobbyists. And oh, thank you, Jasmine. You have it there on the screen. So just so you can see in the audience, you see all the different hard work that we put together with our lobbying team. And I'm not going to go through all the items there, Mayor, because I just want to set the format that you'll see the proposed 2021 legislative funding request portion. That's a summary. And then you'll see the three projects that we have for this year, which is 2021-01. Saga Bay Drainage Project, 2022-02, the Cutler Bay Buffer Land Acquisition Project, the 2021-03 Cutler Bay Conservation Resiliency Plan Project, and then the ones that you see there with 2020 numbers are those the ones that are familiar, at least to the rest of the council, maybe not Councilman Lord, obviously, but those are the ones that we had like from last year that we've had there. So our goal today, and we'll come, and I'll have our lobbying team, I'll introduce them here shortly, is to just get a good consensus and get some good direction from the town council with obviously the professional advice of our town lobbying team of what to tackle and what are the priorities and what's the sense. And obviously, I'm just as interested as a council to hear how's it going to work up in Tallahassee where we cannot walk up and down the hallways, right? And run into folks, or the courtyard there where we could just run into folks. So, but prior to that, I want to also mention that, I want to give kudos to the lobbying team, because last year it was a lean year for the rest of the county. But I can tell you, for us, we received $600,000 worth of an FDEP grant for our Saga Bay drainage improvement. That was not a direct appropriation, but that had our lobbying team involved dealing with FDEP staff, as well as our great grant writer, Lakeisha, who's on this call as well. We had a $200,000 FDEP direct appropriation for our Frangio Park to offset the cost for Frangio Park. Then we also had another $200,000 FDEP grant for our canoe kayak launch. And lastly, we had a $200,000 FDEP for the Cutler Ridge Drainage Section 3 drainage project that we have. That's just the area, Section 3, Cutler Ridge, the sub-basin, which is located, if you know the neighborhood, right behind Gulfstream Elementary, between Gulfstream Elementary and Anchor Road, that area there. That's the sub-basin. That's why it's called Cutler Ridge Section 3. So you can see that the theme there has been FDEP, FDEP, FDEP. So we've been doing great with our FDEPs. And then also last year, we received $3.4 million worth of grants that were awarded through various federal, state, and county allocations. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, we also received Direct Care Act funding of $1.1 million. So, it's easy for me to sit there and read all these great numbers and tell you all the different great things, but this actually was a huge team effort. I mean, from the town attorney's office to all the different departments and to our lobbying team. So with that, Mayor, what I'd like to do now is kind of, introduce our state lobbying team and have them come up and just kind of provide you just a briefing of what the sense is in Tallahassee. So just as a formal introduction, we have Jonathan Kilman, Mario Bailey, Frank Bernardino, Edgar Fernandez, and then most recently we added a local lobbyist for our EEL application, which is Ms. Laura Reynolds. So what I'd like to do now is if we could have Jasmine, if you could promote Jonathan Kilman to be part of the panel. Jonathan, there you are. All right, you're on mute, Jonathan.
Apologize for that. It's a pleasure to be with everyone.
Take it away.
Thank you, Ralph. It's a pleasure to be with you, albeit via Zoom. And as atypical as this is, it perhaps pales in comparison to how atypical the process is in Tallahassee right now, where I'm currently sitting in my home. The downtown is kind of a ghost town, and the opportunity to meet with members is very different than it has been traditionally. The access to the Capitol is limited. On the House side, it's largely limited to meetings that you schedule with members. They let you into the Capitol and are supposed to escort you out of the Capitol when that is done. On the Senate side, very limited in-person interaction in the Capitol. So meetings throughout the day are occurring via a combination of scheduled meetings, in-person, outside the Capitol meetings intermittently, and then even then, a combination of phone calls and Zooms with members who are sometimes just right across the street. Of course, we're meeting with them in person, as I mentioned, outside the Capitol, but this is not the typical legislative year, any far from it. Nevertheless, I can tell you that your lobbying team spent a significant amount of effort in the off season, so to speak, communicating via phone and Zoom with key legislators, with agency staff, governor's office people, to ensure that there's a sort of familiarity of regular communication using phone and Zoom to make sure that we were in a position to continue to do that during the legislative process. So that's a little bit of a flavor of what we're dealing with here in terms of the process. On the budget, I will tell you it's still a bit of a moving target. Early predictions were that there would be something like a $5 billion shortfall over the next couple of years. Some revisions are saying maybe more like a 2 to 3 billion, but we know that a lot of that's front-end loaded, and we don't know yet what the package coming out of Washington, D.C. is going to look like, nor do we know when that funding is going to occur. So that said, we have urged Ralph to focus attention again on grants where we've been very successful. And also we do anticipate some federal funding coming down through DEP and DEO, and we'll keep Ralph and you all apprised of that as that develops. We also are working on one direct appropriation that Ralph has identified for us, and which I believe is in front of you this evening, along with some key pieces of legislation that we've pointed out. With that, I'm going to kick it over to my colleague, Mario Bailey, who's going to speak a little bit about the specific new House rule that's in place with respect to appropriations, the specific appropriation that we're talking about this evening, as well as some particular grants that we are working on your behalf. And then Mario's going to kick it back to me to close out and answer any questions you may have. But again, it's a pleasure to be with you in this atypical format.
Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Mayor, I don't see Mario Bailey in the attendees list. Do you know if he's connected via phone?
I do not. Ralph, did you want to go ahead and move on to Frank and then jump back to Mario once Jonathan, are you in contact with Mario? Do you know if he's
if he is on? He may have lost signal or something. But I will check with him. And if you want to kick it to Frank and then talk to us, that's fine.
Okay, let's do that, Ralph.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor. And next we'll have Frank Bernardino. Just to make a brief presentation. So Jasmine, if you could go ahead and promote Frank.
Yep, I'm live. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, council members. A pleasure to be with you tonight. As Jonathan indicated, the environment really is really unlike anything we've experienced here before. But in there also lies some opportunities. So what we have seen, given the fact that and most of the activities that I'm involved in are your environmental programs, the state has shifted its focus and the way it procures environmental projects in a very significant manner. So the governor, when he came into office a few years ago, announced a broad sweeping change of programs and $625 million in recurring funding for various environmental programs. And so what the state has done is that they have created a portal on their webpage where any project that any local government throughout the state may be interested in, you can enter your project into that portal. And as opposed to having to apply for a specific grant program, the department will then work with you based on the information that you submitted to identify the grant program that your project best fits in. One of the applications that you all have recently filed is an application for a resiliency grant. I've spoken to Ralph and I've reached out to the grant administrator. We are very close and have very close working relationships with the grant administrators of the Department of Environmental Protection. And I shared with Ralph yesterday that her initial impression of the application was that it was in very good shape and that she anticipated, absent something extraordinary happening, that you all would be awarded that in the upcoming cycle. Those applications have been reviewed by a technical committee that the department has, and now it's going to hit her desk this week to rank the projects. And so again, knowing that we have a relationship and everything, she's got her eye out for the project. She pulled it up and she indicated to me that she thought that it was going to be in very good shape. That's an example of what Jonathan was pointing to. The real opportunities right now in the environmental sector, for the most part, are going to exist through the grant programs. Now, most of that funding is making its way through the Department of Environmental Protection, but some of it is coming through the South Florida Water Management District. Sometimes they use the water management districts to vet the projects. And so we pass that information along to Ralph as it becomes available to make sure that you guys don't miss out on any opportunities. Let's bring the discussion, though, closer to home. One of the projects that y'all have engaged us to help you on forever and a day, it feels like, is the 53-acre Lennar property that we know we want to see improved, and we want to see amenities put on to make it available to the public access and such. We had the wonderful meeting with all of the agencies last year, lost all momentum when COVID hit, everything stopped, but there's been a significant development along the lines and specifically for that project. In large part to the advocacy of Arella Bagay, and for those of you who don't know Arella, she, and the mayor does, because she was involved in pulling the meeting together. She was my partner in helping to bring the Corps of Engineers and the Water Management District to our meeting at the town council, at the town hall. She has continuously advocated for Biscayne Bay as she worked as a volunteer for an organization called Resiliency Florida that she and I are involved in. And she managed to get the state to make a commitment of $10 million for Biscayne Bay this year. That is money that's going to come directly to Miami-Dade County. That is money that Miami-Dade County is going to be expected to match on a dollar per dollar basis. Arella has shared with me, and she and I have had conversations, and I've connected her with the manager, and I know they've had a couple of conversations as a follow-up to our conversations. The county was not expecting that announcement. They did not have projects identified for those amounts of money. And so part of what she is going to be working on is establishing a committee to carry forth the future restoration activities in the Bay. Now that Mayor Cava has hired her to be they call her the Biscayne Bay Chief Officer is her title. And so she is aware of the project, very supportive of the project. And so we're going to work very closely with her, because that is the fastest route to get any significant help to implement the project. It also will benefit from not having all of the different checks and reviews at the state level that sometimes can create impediments. So we're excited about the opportunity. We're excited about her appointment. I know, Mr. Manager, that if you invited her to come, like you did the commissioner tonight, and appear at one of your future meetings and talk about her vision for Biscayne Bay, I know she'd be very excited to do that. And so we're going to continue that work. The last thing that I'll say, again, is it's a benefit of the way we do business is, not only do you benefit from my direct engagement on your behalf, but you also benefit from the relationships that Jonathan and his company and Edgar and I and our company have with legislators throughout the state. So this year, the Miami-Dade County legislators are not the chairs of the Appropriations Committee. The Polk County delegation is the one that came out on top in the Senate. Senator Stargell is the chair. And the subcommittee chairs over the environmental budget, also by happenstance, I've never seen this happen, are from Polk County. So Senator Albritton in the Senate, Representative Tomko in the House. We've represented Polk County for 13 years. They continue to be our client. We are in the Jonathan role when it comes to Polk County. We're the senior advocates and the coordinators of the team. Benefit our relationships as well. And we stand prepared to help Jonathan in anything that he needs us to participate in. Thank you for the opportunity to make my presentation, and I've given it back to you, Mr. Manager.
And thank you, Frank. In fact, we were able to book Irela at our last council meeting, so she was able to introduce herself to the council. So that's good. And she said a lot of kind words about all the different things that we're doing. So thank you for that. So I think we got Jonathan back on, right? Jonathan, you're back on? Jonathan, please.
Here, I'll take Mario's role tonight. Just a quick, Frank, I will second everything that Frank said. As I mentioned, I do agree that the focus will be heavily on grants. That's where some significant opportunities are. And also the combined relationships of his firm and our firm together with the key legislators, I think can be a difference maker for you as we go through the appropriations process, as well as seeking advocates as necessary in the grant making process. A couple of quick items in terms of just procedural rules that are worth noting. The House now has a rule in effect that any appropriations request that is made, that if the House is not going to appropriate at least 50% of the amount requested, then you will not receive any appropriation. And so we've made some recommendations along those lines to Ralph and worked closely with him. And so the appropriation request before you today for approval is for a $400,000 additional appropriation for the Saga Bay drainage project. And we think that while there's some uncertainty in the process, we think it's a reasonable amount to request, and are happy to bring that to your senator and legislator Garcia and Busada, or state representative. Also wanted to convey to you that we spoke with Senator Garcia and Representative Busada about participation in this evening's meeting. Unfortunately, conflicted with the state legislative committee schedule, so they couldn't be on. They wanted me to convey their regrets that they couldn't be on, and we will work to schedule them to participate in a future meeting so that you can have the opportunity to address them directly and build that relationship with two new recently elected legislators from your area. In addition to the appropriation, two specific grants that we've been working and discussing with Ralph is the Florida Communities Trust DEP grant for $1.5 million and the Water Protection Resiliency Coastline grant for $2 million. I think that overlaps perhaps with what Frank was referencing. And I will, sort of mention, I think it's important, when Frank brought the various agencies down, and then some of you came to Tallahassee and we arranged meetings with DEP. I can tell you the positive feedback we continue to get. I spoke with the secretary recently, and he recalled that meeting, and that sort of recognition, the effort you're making, the reputation you're building for the work that you're doing, enhances your ability to be successful along with our efforts with DEP and other agencies. So we want to just give you some positive reinforcement on the effort that you all made to come up and use the city's, use the town's resources and your time to come up. It does pay dividends for you and your constituents. Just final note briefly on some legislation. We will be continuing to provide you bills. The bill drafting deadline is this Friday. So we'll continue to see bills popping up. We'll continue to make you aware of bills that may be of interest to you. On a positive note, we're usually in the posture of advising you about bills that are attempting to reduce local government authority. One bill I'll mention is a bill, one of the first bills filed, actually provides protection of local government authority to regulate smoking in public parks. And so we may find some good opportunities to support bills empowering local governments this year, which is a nice twist. And hopefully we'll be seeing some more of that. So I'll close there without any questions. And Mayor and Council, it's a pleasure to speak with you.
Okay, and Council, we'll go through everybody first, and we'll circle back for questions if you don't mind. So, Ralph, I guess we have.
Yeah, and thank you, Jonathan. And then briefly, I'll bring up Laura Reynolds, who was engaged more at the local level with helping us with the EEL application, as well as going through with dealing with the Biscayne Bay and Everglades restoration project. So, Jasmine, I don't know if she is on, if you could promote her. Yep, that's Edgar. Hey, Edgar.
Hi, how are you? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. We can
Okay,
hear you,
great.
when we see Edgar.
Okay, you can see me now, right? Thank you very much. I'm very excited to join the team, and one of the things that I've been focused on is representing you all in the project delivery team of the BBCR project, which is the combined Biscayne Bay and C-111 project. You so far are the only town participating. In fact, the PDT members asked in particular why we're the only town participating, and clearly the environment is a priority for all of you, and we're the seat at the table. So the good news is the coordination between the Water Management District, the Army Corps of Engineers, and the town on recreation and water quality improvement. Your voice is being heard on that. Most of the meetings, there's at least 5 per week. We are championing those efforts. And so what I will be doing is bringing you a presentation in February on the progress on that. The other thing I'm focused on is trying to increase the Florida Forever funding this year. In the past, we have been at 300 million statewide, and 10% of that would come to the EEL program. The EEL program is woefully underfunded. And of course, we'll be looking to them to help fund the purchase that you just made, and congratulations on that. With that, we have some promising efforts on potentially bonding money this year for Florida Forever. We'll see what happens. We've been trying to push that for at least 3 or 4 years now with no luck. But the bonding for the LATF funds expired last year, and we'll be trying to do that this year. So that's up here in Tallahassee, and that's where I am now. But I will be back down again in Miami in February. So I look forward to presenting more information specifically about the BBCR project and any progress that we make on funding for the 9 acres.
All right. Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Mayor, members of council, as you can see, we kind of just probably give you a quick summary and feel of what the atmosphere is in Tallahassee and the different items that we've been working on. And I agree just, with the lobbyists that, the direct appropriation, as Jonathan Kilman mentioned, is the Saga Bay 1.5 community drainage project. We, again, in the state world, they call it a water project. We know it's a stormwater project. And then the other ones that are priorities, obviously, are the buffer land acquisition, as Jonathan mentioned, as well as the conservation and resiliency plan, right? I think that's the one I'm actually, I'm excited about all of them, but the plan is, I think it's very important for us because as we know, we've had little different pieces of the puzzle, right? I mean, the 53 acres that we've been, talking about for several years. We just launched the canoe kayak launch, right, at Lakes by the Bay. If you recall, when we approved the conditional use for Matter Academy, we secured the use of a classroom for Saturdays and Sundays at no charge whenever we need to use it for our programs. And then now the biggest leg was the purchase of the 8.45 acres there that we have. So I think there's a lot of pieces that are come together, and that's why I think that we aggressively, went after that conservation resiliency plan grant. And I'm glad to hear from Frank Bernardino, just from his context, that it looks like hopefully that'll get funded, because I think that's the plan that we need to bring it all together there for us. So that's the exciting part of it. Now, granted, I mean, I wouldn't mind getting, the Florida's Communities Trust $1.5 million to offset our costs for the property neither, so I think those are all important projects. And with that, Mayor, I'll conclude our presentation. We're here. The entire team is here to answer any questions from the council. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, Ralph. It's times like these where we're limited in our ability to reach out to our legislators and the various agencies up in Tallahassee, where we really have to rely on our lobbyists to do that. So, in my mind, I remember when we were up in Tallahassee, and one of our neighbor cities was trying to figure out why we were getting some appropriations and they weren't, and they kind of at the last minute decided they need to get a lobbyist on a temporary basis. But the temporary basis doesn't work when you have 100 people asking for money. It's really hard to get any, but when you have people that are working for you year round, is really where you get the results. So I do think it's been a benefit for us. So, but with that, hopefully the council has the opportunity to look over all these things, and I'd like to open it up now for the council for questions, comments, and such. So the floor is now open for the council. Any questions or concerns, or even just comments? And the silence is golden. So, I do see that we did miss one person. I did see that Edgar was online. I don't know if he was there. So I know Susie has not met him yet.
No.
And hopefully Edgar works with Frank. If he's there, Edgar, if you want to unmute yourself and say hello for a moment, I appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I'm up here at Tallahassee also.
Hi.
Okay.
Zooming everything.
Okay.
And Mayor, I think we have Mario Bailey too. Let me see if we can promote him to say a quick hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that. We'll give him some time as well. There you are, Mario, but you're on mute, sir. If you take yourself off on mute and say hello to us, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, from my lovely room in Tallahassee.
Welcome. So we just kind of went through, if you could, for the benefits of the council, just give a brief introduction of yourself. I think Jonathan covered a lot of stuff, but just say hello to Susie. Susie, this is Mario. Hopefully you'll be able to meet him soon when we get to engage back in the one-on-one government again. It'd be nice. So, but Mario, do you have anything to add to what Jonathan added, or about any of these projects, or what you see coming up for the next year?
So really just quick what Jonathan said, you have a very small list of bills. Every day there's a lot more bills being filed. Like for instance, there's one that Commissioner Duncan reached out to the manager, and we're tracking those. We're just looking forward to fighting for you another session up here in Tallahassee. As Jonathan mentioned earlier, I was very excited to see a bill actually giving you guys more home rule, more control regarding smoking. Was one of the first bills that the Senate brought up. Usually it starts off, they're trying to take away some of your power. So I was very excited to see that. And hopefully that will be the tone going forward.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And again, we do appreciate all the hard work that you've done for us in the past, and looking forward for your success in this upcoming year and beyond that, hopefully. So, all right. So council, I'll give it back to you again. It doesn't seem like there are any questions for our team that's working for us, or any questions on any of the priorities that we have going forward. But I want to encourage everybody again, if there are any questions, please reach out to Ralph, who can go ahead and either arrange a meeting for our lobbyist, or more than likely Ralph has a lot of good information on him already. So some good things going forward. As you notice, we're very environmentally heavy. We have to be careful about Cutler Bay just getting that reputation of being all about the environment, which is not a bad thing at all. We're trying to see what we can do to get as much involvement with the Biscayne Bay project and task force. we've this month, or actually this week, we had another meeting with the Florida, the Flood Coalition of Mayors for Florida. And there was 19 mayors on that call with us. So we're also working with the federal government as well, trying to get additional funding. So with that, Rafa, is there anything else? I'm going to give the council one more opportunity. Anybody? Rafa,
I think Councilor Duncan was. No?
I mean, I was just going to say, I wanted to thank all of our lobbying team for all the hard work that they do. You know, not being brought up so far this evening, we did make it to the budget, the final budget last year, and it ended up getting the infamous red pin, and that would have been 2 years in a row. So I just want to, you know, hats off to our lobbying team and all the hard work that they do and the relationships that they continue to build and grow. I know that, you know, you guys are doing everything in your power to represent the town and our interests in the best abilities that you have. And we're very grateful for that, and just keep up the good work.
Right. And Mayor and Council, if I could just add too, because we're also even more involved now with the federal legislation, particularly with our opportunity zones. As you recall, you know, we had Congresswoman Salazar on with us, and I've been in communication with their chief of staff to try to see if we get some meetings involved with the folks from Washington, D.C. that operate and manage the opportunity zones. So we could provide some type of technical assistance and any type of grants helps that they could provide us too. So I've been in communication with her chief of staff, and they're trying to arrange those meetings as well. So again, from the federal level, we're looking at that as well. And obviously any issue that we might have with the Army Corps of Engineers, it's going to be a big partner for us as well.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? No. Council, staff, our lobbyist team, I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
And we look forward to continued success. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.